This is week 8. So welcome everybody. I have a big crowd, right? And this class is going to be on EFT. So this is our emotional freedom class. And this is the class where we get inside ourselves. We get inside our heads and we figure out, okay, what's the issue with the weight? The interesting thing about EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, is the way it was developed. So I'll just do a little bit about, theory of the development of EFT. But Emotional Freedom Technique is using the pressure points, the acupuncture points, and we're actually using acupressure on those acupuncture points and working the different meridians that will help us so that if we have any internal emotional issues, it helps to get rid of those. So that's why this is so important to use the Emotional Freedom Technique. But on that first paper, Holistic Healing, Tapping, I'm just going to kind of point out some of the highlights of what emotional freedom is about. And under, when it says energy adjustment, this tells us a little bit about where this came from. And of course, working on these acupuncture meridians is where the energy flows and the energy passes through our body. But it talks about back in 1962 when Dr. George Goodheart, DC, began using manual pressure on acupuncture points to promote healing. And then this psychiatrist comes along, John Diamond, and he added affirmations or positive generated statements while you tap on those points. So basically what you're doing is you are reprogramming your brain so that instead of thinking negative, it's thinking positive. So that's how it came to be. And then psychologist Roger Callahan, then he also gave it a more structured look and simplified the EFT. So it kind of has this history, and that's how we got it today. The interesting thing about EFT is very powerful. I've seen it done by psychologists from New Mexico all the way to Georgia. It's like the psychologists, they know about this EFT, and they know that it's very powerful. And at one point in time, they tried to not allow the public to know about Emotional Freedom Technique. They wanted to put a price on it. And so other psychologists were like, no, we're not going to do that. So they put it on the internet so that everybody could learn about it. And you can become a certified EFT or Emotional Freedom Technique person, but you don't have to. It's not necessary. But it is something that's very effective. The book that I got a lot of information from was The Gabriel Method. And John Gabriel is he is a biochemist, and he worked with John Jose Rabinowitz, and they developed some different, let's see, I'm trying to remember exactly what they developed, but a renowned biochemist, Dr. Jose Rabinowitz, is who he worked with. And with his working with this doctor, he learned a lot about chemistry, but I'm going to pass the book around so you can see where he came from.
Ooh.
What he realized, he tried every diet you could possibly think of, and he was 400 pounds, and he could not lose weight. He could not, and he said every diet that you ever read about, that a doctor ever gave somebody, he's tried them all, and he said he just could not lose weight. And he also talks about how he knows that when you walk into a doctor's office, he says there's all this prejudgment about, wow, look at you, you're so fat, can't you go on a diet? If you eat the right things, then you won't be so fat. And he said that was not true. That was just not true for him. And he found that what happened as he observed things in life, and even like other preachers, he had a cat he talks about, and he said that his cat was big and fat and just lazy, a big fat lazy cat, just laid around all the time. And he says, but every day he would let his cat out, and the cat would go real close to the fence so that it could aggravate the dogs next door, and the dogs next door were, I can't remember if they were pit bulls or mastiffs, but they were big dogs. And every single day, at the same time, he'd let his cat go out. He'd go over to the fence, this big fat cat, and he'd just lay there, and those dogs would go crazy, barking, 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 barking. So finally, one day, the owners of the dogs let their dogs out of the fence when the cat was out in the front. And so apparently the owners had enough.
Yeah.
So the dogs chased after that cat, and he said, I didn't see the cat for the rest of the day. He said the cat came home the next day, and he said, and you could tell he was traumatized. He had like a, his ear was a little chewed, and he had like a paw that he had to, nurse back to health. So he got him all nursed back to health, and he said about 2 weeks later, this cat started losing weight. He said he didn't eat any differently. He ate the same stuff he always ate, the same amount, but he said the cat started losing weight. And he said, what I came to realize is that we have a mechanism, and so he started studying this about the human body. We have a mechanism in our body that tells us that if survival means that we need to be fat, then we're going to be fat. If survival means that we have to be thin, then we will be thin. And he said for his cat, the interesting thing was is that he ate the same stuff when he was fat, he ate the same stuff in same amounts when he got skinny. But what changed was the cat realized that in order for him to survive, he had to be thin so he could run away from those dogs. And so he said he did a lot of research on different cases, and he found this to be so. So his question that he had to ask himself was, why did he feel like he had to be fat? So he came to realize that his body was telling him, I want to be fat. I have to be fat to survive. And so what he did is he went inside himself, and he started listening to his body and listening to what his body actually needed. And he found that what his body actually needed was nutrition, nourishment. And he said, and that was a big part of it, because a lot of times when you're heavy, you end up eating a lot of empty calories. So he would just really pay attention and listen to his body every day and think about, okay, what's my body really saying today? What is it telling me that I really need? Do I need this, or do I need that? Do I need an apple, or do I need dessert? And so he started making better choices after he would ask himself those questions. What is my body really saying? Okay, well, I'm going to eat the apple because that's what I really need right now. So that's what he did. He paid attention to himself. But he also, to me, is kind of like the psychology guru of weight loss. So what we're going to do is we're going to go inside ourselves, and we're going to ask ourselves some of the questions that he has asked himself and that he's written down. In Chinese medicine, I'm going to tell you what is tied in with obesity, okay? And this is interesting too, because whenever somebody develops diabetes in Chinese medicine, it means the sweetness of life is gone.
Oh.
So when someone develops diabetes, the sweetness of life is gone, okay? So something has happened in their life that took the sweetness away.
Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind, what if I can't trust myself?
We're going to talk about that today. Yeah, we're going to talk
Like,
about
that
that.
just overwhelmingly
there's-
writes in my head.
there's a
We're going to go
reason-
inside ourselves and we're going to talk to ourselves and ask ourselves, what if I can't trust myself?
There's a reason why you can't trust yourself.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to hit on that.
That's why I want to go ahead and ask that question, because
Okay.
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Okay, okay. Yeah, this is all good. This is all good. Okay, so in Chinese medicine, what it says about overweight people, it says that if they switch to a plant-based diet of whole grains and vegetables and unrefined foods, and they do a plant-based diet, no meat, that means no animal, that it will help them lose weight. But there are still those people that can eat that and gain weight. So, yeah, right. So it says overweight conditions, like all imbalances, are supported by unhealthy attitudes. It's an attitude. And it said people who are obese may often find medical and other reasons to continue living and eating the way that they do, and adding weight. But once a firm decision is made to give up the weight and a resolution is followed based on sound principles of nutrition, the result is weight loss in almost every case. So it's, again, he's saying it's mind over matter. So it goes back to what goes on in our mind as far as, do we have healthy thinking patterns?
I don't know if this has to do with it, but Matt had lost a lot of weight, 50 pounds, I think. And then he had his gallbladder. He had to have his gallbladder removed. He'd been having attacks, and we didn't know what they were.
Okay.
Every once in a while. And then he had this really, really bad one, and we would rather have handled it a healthy way, but anyway, he was in so much pain, we just had it taken out. And after that, he was mad at his body for letting him down. I worked so hard to lose all this weight, and then he started gaining weight back.
Yeah.
Gained like the 50 pounds back, or 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
and that we're going to discuss that. I wished he was here today because we would make him get inside himself and look at that. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have everybody close their eyes. When we're done with this class, you will be able to do EFT on yourself. Okay. That's great.
Chair bothers me.
So close your eyes. And pay attention to what's going on inside your body. I want you to think about how your body is feeling today. Feel any discomfort anywhere? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have you think about this. If you could think about an emotion that may be tied in with extra weight, what emotion would that be? Everybody got an emotion? Stacy?
overachiever.
Laura, did you get one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's open our eyes. Okay, so let's start with you, Laura. Where did you feel this in your body? Did you feel it anywhere in your body?
Feel what?
What? Oh, okay. So when I asked you to feel, how your body's feeling, and asked like, okay, what do you feel in your body? Is there any place that you're actually feeling? Was there any place in your body that was like, that's uncomfortable? And you can say no, that's fine.
I don't think so.
Okay, good. All right. How about an emotion? Did you think of an emotion?
Yeah, I thought of sad and angry.
Okay. You know what? That's great. That's really great. Because that means that you're aware. How about you, Julie?
Fear.
Okay.
It just freaks me out to gain weight.
Okay. Okay. So how about to lose weight?
I don't know. You can have me think about that.
Okay. So afraid of gaining weight. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Obesity scares.
Okay. Okay. Stacy?
I'm sad and angry.
Okay.
So I came up with, depressed and
Okay.
negative. I think I'm just a negative brain person. no matter how hard I try to be positive, I'm a negative brain person.
Okay.
I'm glass half empty.
Where do you think that comes from?
You know what? I'd love to solve it. I
Okay.
really want to solve it, but
Okay. Was mom or dad that way?
oh, my dad.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad is glass half empty.
So that
Then I
they
don't have to choose.
but it's interesting because they say that we get, what is it, is it 100,000? Justin, is it 100,000 hours of parenting we get? He's probably not
Well,
here.
I
Do you remember?
would say, but I would just be guessing.
Okay.
Well, I'll guess. That sounds
I think
Okay.
I get more than that, however.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because you parent him all day long,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've watched him herd you.
5 minutes left on the clock here. Get it written. Get it done.
I know, right?
And mine was in my stomach and my head, my neck.
And
my
that's-
neck and my
okay,
stomach.
that's
is where I
important.
focused.
That's important. Julie, did you feel it anywhere in your body?
I'm not very in touch with myself because I don't get a lot of sleep.
Okay, okay.
Sorry.
And she's like closing her eyes.
Yeah. Right, it was in my eyes, they want to stay shut.
Like, no.
Yeah. But this is important that you also noticed where it was at. And I think, Becky, you said stomach also.
It was rumbling.
It was rumbling?
Hurrying
Oh,
and
okay.
just, yeah, hungry.
So in Chinese medicine, when we feel it in our stomach, that's because there's something going on in our lives that we can't stomach.
Oh.
Okay? So, that, you know, we want to pay attention to that, that's important. So where did you feel it, Becky? Did you feel it anywhere?
Not that I noticed, just felt my stomach rumbling
Okay.
right around that time.
Stomach was
I
talking.
should have given you my cheese.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Emotion, did you feel any emotion?
Sad and lonely.
Okay, okay, so this is important, this is all very important. Okay, so what we're going to do, and I'm gonna let you know it's okay to cry. Okay, if that does come up, do it, just let it out, this is a safe environment. And sometimes it just happens, and that's okay, all right? Does everybody have like a coin in their purse?
Well, I do.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Here, first.
I'm sure we can find you one. or-
Yeah, I actually have coins.
Okay. So we're gonna do an exercise
Well,
after
I'll
we're
do
done.
dimes.
You'll have to hold on to your coin, because we're gonna do an exercise when we're done.
We all have dimes. We need to be equal.
It needs to be fair.
Because life is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to, I'm gonna ask these questions, but as I ask the questions, I want you very aware, so eyes opened, and I'll have you write down a yes or a no, okay? And if you wanna expound on that, that's fine too. So the first question we're gonna ask ourselves as we get into our bodies is this. I think Stacy's gonna write yes for every one of these questions.
Most
though.
likely.
Okay. Is there somebody in your life that's infringing on your space? That you feel like you have to put space between you and them? These questions are all reasons for keeping our weight on. Is there someone or something in your life infringing on your space that you feel like you need to put space in between you and them?
Okay, so even though she.
next question.